Consider yourself under my protection.
Big man in a suit of armor. Take that off. What are you?
Let's put a smile on that face.
I'm touching myself tonight.
How can a woman possibly fight this?
There are two things I want to do. I want an American cheeseburger.
Voltron Network.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the DC vs. Marvel podcast, where we talk about the latest DC and Marvel movie news. My name is Uz, and I'm your regular DC fanboy. Once again, in the red corner, representing Marvel, is my boy Edz. How you doing, bro?
Ooh, I'm doing good.
So we were gonna do this recording yesterday, but then I started watching the streaming of D23, and I was like, let's see what stuff comes out from here, basically. So
Good thing.
Yeah. So we had a few good things coming out from Disney. So we'll be talking about that there, and giving you guys our thoughts about that there. But before we do that, we got a lot of reviews to get through, man, because there's. Last time I literally had not watched any of She-Hulk, and there hadn't been any of, I think maybe been episode 1 House of the Dragon had kind of come out, and none of the Lord of the Rings stuff had come out there, but now kind of caught up with pretty much everything. So we'll talk about all of those bits there as well.
I am fascinated to know what you think of all of that.
Okay, yeah, that'll be interesting. And Niantic's new game, which I am like super excited about, and you guys will probably think, what? Why? This guy's a DC guy, but yeah, super excited about that new Niantic game that they'll talking about releasing in completely like something that just flew by because D23 and everything was going on. But yeah, the fact that they're talking about that is, I think, pretty much gonna blow the world away when this game comes out. So yeah, we'll be talking about D23 stuff there as well. And I added one more thing on there, which is the leaked Batgirl trailer, but that was only just me trying to troll Edz a little bit, but he was way too clever for me, man. It's kind of just like yeah. So guys, if you don't know, Corridor Crew, which are these guys who do like VFX stuff and tell you how VFX and everything is done on YouTube, somebody kind of asked them, like, can you make up a trailer for Batgirl, because obviously Batgirl has gone defunct basically, right? So they made this trailer, which is just absolutely hilarious, man. Trailer that's come out using some kind of footage they had in
and I'll bet the tone isn't that far off from what the film would have been.
Yeah,
I think they nailed it.
That's the thing, like, you watch it and you think, actually, that's probably quite similar to what it was probably going to be like, you know what I mean? So yeah, guys, check that out on YouTube. So before we do that, let's get into a little quick bit of news. In fact, let's put that news in with D23. Let's get straight into the reviews, right? So let's talk about Lord of the Rings, man. Lord of the Rings, The Ring of Power.
Rings of Power.
Rings of Power, episodes 1 to 3 has come out. And this is the kind of, this is the thing, man, where you basically got like this kind of $1 billion behemoth that has come out around the same time as something that is trying to redeem itself has come out. So it's kind of like a in wrestling, when you have stuff like that, where somebody's had like a massive fall and they're trying to build themselves up at the same time as something that has everything going for it.
It's unfortunate for Lord of the Rings that they released it literally at the same time that House of Dragons is out. They probably should have just held this back and just stuck it out in like spring or something. It may have gotten a little bit more favor if they did that.
Yeah. And I think that the thing, I don't know. Do you want to go first on Lord of the Rings, or do you want to hear what I thought about it so far?
I'm gonna go with all the controversies and the hate and all of that. I'm gonna say that I don't feel as strongly against it as a lot of people have, but that I don't love it either. Like, I'm watching it and I'm feeling it's fine. It looks pretty, like the effects were very well done. It does still look a bit too digital for my liking. You know, compared to like Star Trek shows that are out there or Game of Thrones, where they just look so, premium. Looks like movies.
Yeah.
But but the characters and all of that, I don't really care about anybody. I don't like anybody, and I'm not really that in a hurry when new episodes drop to like, oh, I gotta watch this. I gotta watch it straight away. Like it's fine, but it's not completely a travesty either. I'm like just ambivalent. I'm just ambivalent about it. So,
yeah. It's kind of like Amazon, right? Amazon does its job, but you're not going to get anything on Amazon which is like, the most groundbreaking, amazing, greatest thing ever. But it does it delivers your stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. And with this, I feel the same way. Like I was watching it, I watched the first 3 episodes there so far, but to me, it just kind of feels like nothing's happening. Yeah, it's just like, what is going on here? It's like, I can really see that there when I see my kids watching this there as well. So my daughter's a lot older. She kind of understands there a bit more. She's read The Hobbit and all that kind of stuff, and we've seen all of the Lord of the Rings, the extended versions together, and all of the Hobbit.
Good fun.
And all of the Hobbit films as well, all together, and basically when they're watching this, my daughter's kind of intrigued into it because she can remember Galadriel and the elves and the dwarfs and all this kind of stuff. But my son, who's obviously a lot younger, his remembrance of Lord of the Rings is a lot different. His is more like Gandalf, going and saving a whole load of people, or like Aragorn, just going and doing basically going and saving the hobbits from the Nazgul and stuff like that. That's his kind of remembrance there of it. And when he's watching it, you can just see he's bored. He's just he can't follow what's going on the screen. And it's kind of crazy. I see certain bits, obviously Galadriel, they went on this big journey, across the ice and all this kind of stuff. And it's did that mean anything? Nothing came of that. It's what was the point in the whole, in the first place?
Nothing, not a lot happens. It's it's moving towards something. It's teasing the return of Brady, but it just feels like it's treading water, and it's just not, the pacing just isn't, because the thing is, House of the Dragon isn't particularly fast-paced either, but I'm so much more intrigued in all of the characters and the stakes that are at play with that storytelling compared to this, where I'm just I don't care about these half-foot things that are just, hiding around these little Hobbit plug-in characters that they've got to kind of fill that gap. I don't care about them.
The thing is that you can have a story that kind of takes a while and is a slow burn and stuff like that, but you've got to have that entry point that draws you in, and the end point, which is oh damn, it's all kind of, even though House of Dragon is a lot slower and it is slow pace and stuff like that, there is kind of that thing where it's okay, each individual episode seems to be generally kind of self-contained in that it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. With this, it's kind of okay, I'm kind of thinking whether the Netflix idea of bringing all the episodes out at once would have suited this much better, because it's not kind of oh, you watch it and you think, oh, okay, I can't wait for the next episode. Whereas if it was all together, it's probably something you could have, and it's quite bad to say for a thing that costs $1 billion, basically saying oh, just have it in the background and kind of watch it, and then you kind of oh, okay, this story makes a bit of sense, and all that kind of stuff.
It still wouldn't feel essential, at least with the dragons. I feel House of Dragons. Yeah, there's stakes there about the king and him having a son. Even though it's trivial, I feel the weight of what's going to happen to his daughter and the brother who's causing trouble and causing war over here with the crab feeders. I'm that it matters. It feels like it matters, and there's consequences with this stuff. I just don't feel like that black elf guy that's just going around doing his thing. I'm what is it? What are you doing? What are you doing?
It's they've told you who the bad guy is. They've told you that her brother has got killed by the bad guy, and then they're right, now she's got to go and fight the bad guy, basically. And the
Find
thing
him.
is, or find the bad guy to basically, because obviously her brother, that was the plan. He was going to go and find Sauron and get his ass kicked, basically, when Sauron actually saw him and stuff. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the kind of thing, like, I remember when watching Lord of the Rings, it was kind of like each one of these characters has their own like madness that is going on. So you kind of have like, did you used to play Golden Axe back in the day? Right?
Of course.
And you remember the dwarf, right? The dwarf was the most jokes character. So Gimli in Lord of the Rings, and it's like basically like he's like the powerhouse, like the dwarf, just like And then you basically got like the you basically got Aragorn, who's like is like a knight, basically, right? He's got the skills, he's like a trained proper soldier,
Additional heroic character.
Yeah, and then you got Legolas, who is like this unbelievably crazy, athletic, acrobatic, mad. Like when he's like jumping on a horse or jumping on an elephant, it's just like, wow, what kind of madness is going on here? I think some of the problems with doing everything around the elves is like, okay, they've all got the same kind of, gonna have the same skill set and the same power and the same, and it kind of like it dilutes it there a little bit. And I just feel, I don't know, and I'm going to talk about this a bit later when we talk about another show. It just doesn't feel like there's any magic in it. It's just like there's nothing magical in this. It's not like when you watch these films like Lord of the Rings or even like The Hobbit. Like I've got to say, like the second part of The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug. I remember going and seeing it. And it was a particularly weird time because somebody in our family had died and stuff like that. And I remember watching the end, and I was like almost like choking up, basically. And it was, I don't usually do that, get emotional in films, but it's kind of like that is not a great film. But it's just like when they all look at each other and like, oh, what have we done? And then the Ed Sheeran music comes in and stuff, and it was just like, I don't know, it's some kind of weird like emotion thing. But I'm just watching this, I'm just thinking, there's no emotion there, there's no magic, there's no specialness. It's just like, what is this? It's just like,
I don't like anybody.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I hate anybody, but no one really is connected with me personally.
Yeah,
Any of the characters where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see what they're doing next.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It'll be. I'll talk to my daughter about it properly, and because obviously Galadriel is the main person within this, and is it going to be the kind of thing that she kind of, because obviously she was quite kind of like enamored with Elsa when when Frozen came out. So I'm just thinking, okay, maybe is Galadriel meant to be the kind of thing that she's meant to watch and think, wow, like the same way that we thought about Aragorn, all these kind of things there. So yeah, I mean, for me, very kind of like, okay, it's not bad, it's not great, it's okay, and yeah, I'll watch it because I'm a fan of the genre. But when I get this is the thing, like this is why I find it very difficult to listen to reviews these days, because you get somebody when they said like, oh yeah, we've got these like massive like Tolkien fans who've come and like watched this, and they're like going crazy over it, thinking it's saying it's the best thing ever, and they watched like the first 2 episodes and stuff. They were allowed to go and see it.
Who were these people? Because I've seen no positive reviews since it's come out properly from people who love Tolkien books, because they've kind of diverted from a lot of the original stuff a little bit. So yeah, so who were these people? Name them, make them justify their response.
And that's the thing, you kind of then think, okay, well, sometimes it's like the fact that you basically get invited and red carpet treatment and all this kind of stuff, and just getting sent, just watching it is a secondary thing.
Did you hear about that rock?
No, that's the thing.
That's what I'm gonna get to. The same thing. It's like the test screening for Black Adam, and then the Rock suddenly gets up at the very end in the crowd. And of course, no one's gonna shit on it with him standing right there in front of him. They're all gonna say, "Oh, it's amazing, Rock. Can I take a picture?"
Yeah, exactly. And then the response to some of these people, like, "Oh yeah, when we watched it, it's like, oh yeah, you've actually shown that you're like a proper superhero on screen, and like it's like, wow, man, you just like, okay, fine, you can like it, but you're literally kissing this guy's backside about this." Yeah. So yeah, I think a lot of it is like, okay, early access, red carpet treatment, blah blah, and then of course it's going to be like, wow, this is the greatest thing ever, because it's all the other things to add in onto it, which is the reason why they do it in the first place. You know what I mean? The reason why they want you to go and do all these things. So yeah, I don't know. I'll watch more of it, but to me, yeah, it hasn't kicked in to say this is some magical, amazing thing that is going to stand the test of time there later on, rather than being like the way I kind of think of it is like, I don't know if you remember the cartoon that used to come on at like Christmas and stuff. Lord of the Rings cartoon. Yeah. It's kind of like that. I kind of just think, okay, it was all, it's okay, I guess, but it's nothing magical about it. So you go like, just with this, I'm not going to say it's bad, but it's not good either. So, should we move on to something a bit more positive? Well, from my point of view, anyway, hopefully from yours there as well. Let's go into House of the Dragon now, right? And House of the Dragon is obviously the thing that HBO Max brought out, and what everyone says, defending the last 2.5 seasons of Game of Thrones. Because the thing is with me, right? I only started watching Game of Thrones 1 week before season 8 came out.
Jeez, one of those guys. You're one of those that fought against it. Like, no, I don't want to watch this. And in the end, you caved in.
And I literally watched every single episode of every season, and then watched 8. And I was like, what the hell happened at the end? Here, like I remember I was commuting, and literally like every day on the train, I was just watching like all these episodes. And the thing is, when you're watching the the early episodes, they're not really things you can watch in public.
No.
You know what I mean, right? But yeah, kind of obviously the later ones are quite different. But then it's interesting because it kind of seems like HBO Max have kind of thought to themselves, oh, actually, the way they've been kind of thinking about it is like, okay, there has been this negative press. Let's bring, we're going to bring something out to try and, maybe change people's minds about it. And
it was their cash cow, innit? So they needed more, but they needed to make sure it was good and put a lot more care in it and not just rush it like they did those last 2 seasons.
And they've actually got like actual kind of lore that they can go and use, from the books there as well. So they're using that particularly, man. And I got to say, for me, when I'm watching this, it's kind of just like, for me, it's kind of got everything. It's kind of like my ideal kind of thing that I'd like to watch. Like literally, like from the first things where it's just like, okay, we've got this kind of medieval kind of intrigue and stuff that is going on, people backstabbing each other, trying to get in, trying to get into the king's favor by marrying their daughters or their sons, or all this kind of stuff. Like the fact that the queen, although like people would have looked up and been like, oh, this is I wish I was living that lifestyle, whatever, literally was just a womb to like the next kind of thing, right? All of the pressure that is then on the daughter, who then the dad is like, I want you to be the prodigal and all that. For me, just like all of it, man. I can even put past some of the things where I looked at some of the stuff and it's like, okay, for maybe a minute or so, some CGI looked a bit ropey here or kind of whatever. Otherwise, I've been really, really loving the whole kind of thing. I mean, what you been thinking?
I've been loving it. I've been loving it, and I'm the one thing I'm worried about is when he does the time jump. I think we got like 1 or 2 episodes, and then they skip, I think, like 10 years. Mm-hmm. So I've really enjoyed the actress that does Rhaenyra.
Okay, yeah.
So they're gonna switch her out with someone else, and she's really the heart of the show. So if the other actress isn't as intriguing as the actress that they've had so far,
Yes.
it could make it a little shaky. But overall, I've been loving it, man.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I always like about Game of Thrones is if you imagine, like, you know, the way they show some of the other stuff, like, you know, they show people who are living outside these big cities as like they're living as serfs and stuff like that. And then if you put yourself in their kind of position, like, you know, you're going to King's Landing and then you go there and you see these flipping dragons flying overhead and you see this mad technology, you see all these, like, you know, the crazy armies and stuff there. Can you imagine how absolutely insane that would be to see? For us, it would be similar to being like, you know, going to a ridiculously highly technological place and seeing like spaceships flying over, just like, you know, continuously and stuff.
You
know?
could imagine what the weight of the impact that dragons have. It would be like being on a battlefield, fighting face to face with your enemy, and then suddenly your enemy has like a bomber that just kind of comes down at the cloud. It's like, oh no.
It would have been like the end of the First World War. Like literally you're fighting each other, and then they were using initially planes as like as spotters, because they literally only just discovered how to make them. By the end of the war, they were using them as bombers. Yeah. Right? So it literally would have been like, damn, the planes are overhead, we're in trouble now, right? And it's like, it would have just been absolutely insane to see, considering for the last however many hundreds of years, people been fighting in formation against each other and stuff like that. It just would have been mad. I just love, the one thing I always like about this is the way they kind of like surprise you and stuff. So I was kind of thinking, okay, they're gonna make up this crab feeder dude as like the big crazy bad and stuff like that, right? And it's just like, actually he was the guy to set up how much of a badass Daemon Targaryen is, because he literally went in like a bloody, I don't know what, man. There was a film where it's a very similar scene where just this dude just runs into a flipping area where there's just a whole load of army and just like decimates it.
Like
stuff.
every Bollywood epic that's in set in those days. Every hero that runs into the arms single hand.
Literally just like running in there, just like battering people and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's just basically, you know, you can tell the only reason why crab feeder's actually done all right is because of the Navy, pretty much, right? And the Navy just being able to blockade stuff and things like that. And this dude, man, is literally just like grayscales taking over his body and stuff like that. And it's just like, oh, it's just mad. I you know, the fact that he doesn't say anything either is just like, that's a proper villain, mate. That's a proper villain.
It is hilarious that after how many years that they were fighting, it took just having news that his brother was coming to back him up for him to be like, screw this, I'm doing it myself.
Exactly. And the thing is, there's so many things in there that is like, you know, you kind of look at and you think, oh my god, why is this guy saying this, right? And you kind of laugh into yourself at some of the things that people were like saying in this, and then you actually realize that actually in medieval times, like a lot of this stuff kind of happened. Like, you know, the guy saying, oh yeah, why do you get why do you get Rhaenyra to marry this two-year-old boy?
That was standard, man. That's what happened with like in Egypt with Cleopatra had to marry her brother. Like that's how it goes.
Exactly, just like standard, like all the time, man, stuff like that. And it's just like, you know, it's kind of like, it's kind of funny because they're showing a lot of the stuff like apparently, you remember when Daenerys is like, she got ill and she's like, oh yeah, you know, I didn't think Targaryens could get ill or whatever, right? And they show Viserys, I think his name is, the king now, right? And he's obviously got this you know, this stuff like on his back and like, you know, his you know, his hand and stuff like that there as well. And you know, the question is that something, I don't know whether they're gonna capitalize on there later on, or is it something like you know, that they're inbreeding for so long that like their, you know, their bodies are falling apart or whatever. I
would have thought that, but it seemed to be such a surprise when it was suggested to him about marrying those two off. That maybe it wasn't as much of a common thing at that point.
Yeah, maybe
Maybe that's
cousins or something like that, or whatever. The other interesting thing is, I can't remember what her name is. You know that there was this woman who used to wear all red.
Oh
right?
yeah,
in the Game of Thrones. Sorry, what was her name? Melisandre. Okay,
Red
so
Witch.
the actress who's playing that, people obviously messaging her on Twitter and stuff like that, saying you're the only one who might be alive at that time. So are you going to be in it? And she's been very coy about it and stuff. Maybe potentially in the time jump we might see something with her. I don't know, or their order, because their order was like. Their order always like, if you get these kind of like epics like Macbeth and stuff like that, you've always got these kind of witches who are doing whispers in the king's ear and stuff like that. I just like it, man. This is the way George Lucas should have looked at and been like, this is the way you put politics into a show with action in it. You make it so people are backstabbing each other and stuff like that. Not like, oh, let's have a Senate meeting and discuss this and discuss that. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, this is an epic show, man. It's like, I also have not heard anybody say, oh, this is crap yet. So I've
heard a few people bitching about feeling like it's too slow, but I think that may have changed now that Lord of the Rings is out and they really know what slow is.
Yeah. But the thing is, I think a lot of people got short memories, man, because it's kind of like sometimes you're watching episodes of Game of Thrones and it's like most of it was them just chatting and just saying like, oh, we're doing this, oh, but you're the new master of coin, well, you need to go over there and get the money for this. And it's just like that's building the narrative, building the stories up. So I wonder what happened to those two guys who did all the Game of Thrones stuff, because they're just like disappeared off the face of the earth. Like, obviously they weren't asked to do this as well. So yeah, it's
they lost out on the Star Wars thing, so I don't know what they're doing now. Probably doing some crappy TV show.
Probably something, man. So yeah, definitely. I would say this is a must watch, really, and I would encourage everybody pretty much to go and watch this. So
everybody is. If you look at the numbers,
everybody
man,
is
ridiculous.
Yeah, everybody is watching it, man. Probably the same amount of people that apparently are watching Morbius on Netflix, which is like Morbius on Netflix. Apparently, is the number one in America at the moment.
Wow.
Number one most watched. But yeah. So let's go into the third set of reviews, which is She-Hulk, right?
Ooh, finally, the main event.
So I had to watch this last time, and I watched it this time, and I mean, I don't know, man. I kind of feel the problem that I have with this show is, if somebody came and said to you, oh, you know what, if you want to read a Justice League comic book, right, you have to read everything about Flash, Cyborg, literally every single series. Flash, Cyborg, Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter. Go read every single one. Not only that, we're going to make you read stuff about Orpheus and Supergirl, but Power Girl, not Supergirl, Power Girl, right? And all these like obscure kind of things. And this is the problem that I have with this, is that I kind of feel this show is meant for certain people, and it's definitely not meant for me, but I can understand there are people who will like this show. But the problem that I have is that in order for me to understand the stuff that comes later on, I'm going to have to watch this to the end, right? And basically sit through something that I really dislike, like literally throughout the entire thing, just so I can be part of this universe, right? Because for me, okay, I understand this is like...
Be specific though, what is it you...
My thing is, okay, this is a pure comedy. That's fine. I'm not really into that, and I understand people who are into that and stuff.
No joy,
but no joy. But also, I always have problems with the one thing that will kill a show off is if it's trying to copy something else, but it also shows you it's trying to copy something else. And there is a part in this where they basically have Ali Mabil playing on a screen in the bar, right? And I'm just like, right, okay, you've basically killed your show, because what you're doing is you're telling me you're trying to copy Ali McBeal. And I've watched a few episodes of Ali McBeal again just to kind of remind myself what that was like, and it's infinitely superior. It's like so superior on another level compared to this, right? I think the main problem that I have is it looks cheap. It feels cheap. The dialogue is cheap. The characters are cheapened. It
feels like a cartoon, and I'm okay with that.
I don't think it even feels like a cartoon.
For me, it does. It just feels like a cartoon, and I'm like,
But what cartoon though? What cartoon? That's the thing.
It's the Saturday morning cartoon. That's why I kind of view it, and I'm like, I can take it.
If you're talking about Saturday morning cartoon, the level that I would put this in is something like, I don't know, Danger Mouse. That's what I'd put it in, right? That's what I put it in. Compared to something like X-Men, Spider-Man, even the new stuff, Hulk and the Agents of Smash, infinitely better than something like this.
These are more fun, light-hearted. I get what you're saying, but personally, I have to say that I'm never mad at watching this. I just seem to have fun with it.
Mad at it.
It's weird.
How is that a good review, man? You're not mad at it
because I watched Lord of the Rings and I'm like, God, that's an hour. When's this gonna finish? I never feel that with this. Even when it finishes, I'm feeling, wow, it's over already. It feels so it's gone so quick.
Yeah,
I'm able to just take it for what it is and just have fun, because I know that's what it's just trying to be. It's not trying to be super gritty or dark or anything.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, I watched the last episode and I cringed so much. I was almost like,
what?
I was
you didn't like
cringing into my
made a new friend?
Wongers and Madison and that stupid Blaze, that everybody thought was going to be bloody Ghost Rider and all this stuff. Mate, it just cringe upon cringe.
Madison.
Oh no, you're one of those.
Give me a spin-off, the two of them.
Oh,
give me a short film.
Oh no, man. So, I just feel it just cheapens the whole thing, honestly. Like I watch it and I kind of just think, okay, you're making, if you're making like an SNL sketch or something like that, and you're taking the mick out of this and you're taking the mick out of that, that's great, that's fine, but to me it's kind of like, okay, there's a certain way of doing it, of taking the mick out of certain things, the way that Deadpool does it. The way that this does it is kind of like, okay, you're doing it in a way that just cheapens everything that is going on with these characters. So the whole thing about Wong is that every single time he's shown us that he thinks that Stephen Strange is a Joker, and just goes off and does stupid stuff and doesn't follow the rules properly, all this kind of stuff, and that he's the guy who's basically goes and it sorts things out and is has the gravitas and all that kind of stuff. And for me, just his whole character is just slowly just being destroyed by I
completely disagree. Wong is bulletproof to any of that. I feel like you could argue, breaking Abomination out of prison.
Oh no! Don't get me started on that.
You could probably be like, that was maybe irresponsible, but no, I think Wong would be great in this.
Whoever wrote that Abomination entire storyline not only didn't watch the original Hulk, but I don't think Tim Roth even watched the original Hulk, because the whole point was that he was drunk on the power, right? When he saw the power of Hulk, he's like, having that power would be incredible. Now he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I shouldn't have killed you. Shut up, you fool. What's the matter with you? You just destroyed your character completely, right? You're meant to be, you're meant to be this mercenary Blonsky who's basically gone and done that. And it's like, oh yeah, they took me without trial, and they treated me badly. It's like, shut up. What's the matter with you, man?
Honestly, sister wives now.
Okay.
found this.
Okay, so you imagine you're watching something, right? And you're watching. Imagine you're watching. What's that? What was that thing where basically they go Mindhunter, right? And they changed it, so they go and they speak to Jeffrey Dahmer, and he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm really sorry for everything that I did. I don't know why I did that. Why did I eat these people's brains, man? It's kind of crazy. Like, I'm really feel so sad about doing that, and they treated me like badly in prison, and there's all this kind of stuff. Can you imagine like what that would be like? Oh, you'd forgive him. You would.
He ain't such a man.
I love it, man. Yeah, that's the thing, man. It's kind of like the thing is, I just kind of the way that I feel about it is, okay, there's some things for some people and some things for other people, but the problem always with this is that I can't jump off. And if I could just say, okay, you know what, I'll just skip this one because this is not for me, and I'll go and watch the ones that I want to go and watch. You can't, because it's like, okay, this is going to have Daredevil being introduced or whatever. There's going to be some kind of things there. They've hinted some kind of World War Hulk, Planet Hulk situation up at the start there as well. When he's talking about the ships from Sakaar and all that. And it's kind of like, okay, well, this is leading on to something, and I can't just drop this because then I'm going to need to watch this to get into the other bit. And that's the issue that I have.
If you did jump off, I actually don't think it would be a big issue. I think that it would, whatever would come next, would set it up in such a way that it would just explain whatever Hulk pops up next. I'm sure they'll explain enough that it wouldn't even really matter what happens in this. Marvel seems to be good at that, because loads of people do jump off and miss films, and they still seem to be able to enjoy the isolated things they watch. So
I hope so, man. I hope so. Yeah. I don't know. Not for me. It's definitely for you, but not for me. But
it's for me. I love being a sitcom.
For somebody.
I don't mind being a sitcom, man.
I don't mind a sitcom, but not a sitcom where they're taking the piss out of characters that you're kind of meant to be endured to. You know what I mean? So I don't know. To me, it's more like it's not even a sitcom. It's kind of more like I don't know, more like a TV sketch show. It's like Bo Selector. This is the Bo Selector of TV shows, right? And guys, if you're not from the UK, you don't know what Bo Selector is, go on YouTube and see what Bo Selector is, man. So yeah. Okay, so before we get into D23, which is like quite anticipated stuff that I want to go through, have you heard of Niantic's new game that they're proposing?
I heard something about like a Pokemon Go sort of thing. So basically that's the kind of plan. And that would be flipping insane, because they tried to do that with Harry Potter, and obviously Harry Potter's quite kind of famous and stuff like that, but obviously Marvel is super famous there at the moment, kind of worldwide. So to do something like that, I think would be mad. Like, you see how obviously popular Pokemon was, people going and trying to find this Pokemon and trying to find that and blah blah. People doing the same kind of thing there. What would it be with Marvel though? You finding what are you looking for?
Find Spider-Man, put him in a ball, and make him do what you want him to do. Yeah, just say, you will fight for me against other people. You know what I mean? It would potentially be like, you're ending up and going and unlocking heroes by finding certain areas and stuff. That's what I would assume, basically. And then
version I want to be a sentinel, and I want to be hunting mutants, and anyone who's the mutant.
Wow.
That's what I want to be. So I'm just on the hunt.
Wow.
You find them, you have a quick little battle, and then boom, capture them into the detention center. Oof.
Wow. I can't see how that's going to come off very well. The kind of people who are going to want to play that is, it's going to be kind of funny. However, there has been a Wolverine game announced, and Spider-Man 2 there as well. So those are two like crazy anticipated games that are going to come through, because the original Spider-Man was, for me, kind of, I haven't played Miles Morales one. I really want to, but basically, like for me, that was on a par with the with the Batman games, with the Arkham Asylum games, that or Arkham City, Arkham Knight, all those Arkham games. They're on the same kind of level. So, if they can do a similar thing to Wolverine, man, I'd love to be Wolverine, just like kind of, because Wolverine always has spoken to me as a character where he's kind of just like, just leave me alone, man. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to speak to anybody, deal with anybody. Just leave me alone, kind of thing. And kind of like just being him, just getting in situations that you really just don't want to be in, man, because it's just like this wants to kind of be left alone. Would be epic, man. So it'll be interesting to know kind of what way they do it. Are they going to do it kind of modern, or they're going to flow him through?
That's what I want. I want like a Highlander, show him from different time periods, for his life. That would be fascinating. That would be cool.
That'll be amazing. Yeah, that'll be amazing.
World Wars. Oh, that's great.
That would be cool. Like, when they had the original Call of Duties, not like Modern Warfare and stuff like that, but the original ones there, and then he'd be in Pacific Theater one day, and then he'd be back in Germany, and then he'd be at the Reichstag, and that would be crazy, man. If you're doing the same kind of things, like Wolverine storming the beaches on D-Day. Although he's invincible, so it wouldn't exactly be that hard.
They'll put in some sort of mechanic.
You'd have to be stealth. You have to be stealth, innit? Otherwise, everybody's going to be like, there's a dude with flipping bone claws, because he had bone claws in those days, didn't he? Bone claws, just like going up and like and you could have him going through the tunnels to get to like the trenches and stuff there, where the Germans were dug in,
taking out the Germans to see the tunnels,
and the soldiers talking to each other. Yeah, exactly. The soldiers talking to each other, saying like, "Oh yeah, there's this demon and he's got claws, and he comes and hunts us through the tunnels." And this other one's going, "No, that's rubbish. Doesn't exist." And you gotta be stealthy, because if they see you and they photo you or they send you a video or whatever, it's like, not video, what would it be? Radioing off saying, "Oh, this person's here," or whatever. Then it will come out that you're the thing. Maybe even have to at some point work with Captain America and his team, and it's like, and Captain America just like, you got to follow this rule, and Wolverine's like, sod off, mate, kind of thing. It'll be interesting to know those kind of different dynamics. I think that would be quite cool. So definitely those. I'm gonna have to get a PS5, aren't I?
Yep.
I'm gonna be forced into getting a PS5 now at some point.
Got one already.
Mate, I'm still on PS3. You know what I mean? I'm some PS3, and then like,
your mind is gonna blow as soon as you turn that.
No, I was still on PS3, but I had PS4. Like, I loaned off somebody because they weren't using it for quite a while, and then played Spider-Man. Like, and then after that, just nothing. Like literally nothing, man. I played nothing on. Kind of like the last big games that I played on PS3 was stuff like Skyrim and things like that. So yeah, I want to see like an epic kind of game like that there again.
Yeah,
I'm
a graphics snob. I can't go backwards, man. It was just better and sharper and more realistic.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, man. Like, sometimes you compare the PS5 stuff to like we got the Switch and things like that, and it's just like, it's very, very different, man. Switch is so cartoony and so like thingy. It's like, you don't see the difference from one generation to another, because it's like, it's the same. It's just cartoony graphics, you know what I mean? So so that's that game, highly anticipated, man. Let's get into now D23 and all the stuff that is coming out there. Man, there is a lot of stuff that is coming through. So should we let's go through a few of these things. First thing was the one thing that kind of intrigued me a lot was the Werewolf by Night trailer. Which I actually thought was quite cool. Like, it's kind of like olden days, kind of like. What did you think?
Yeah, with a grindhouse presentation in the end, like where the film burns and the voiceover. I'm like, I was curious about how they would do this when it was announced. And I'm like, where does this fit in the whole bigger Marvel thing? It just feels like its own little thing. Like, why do this? And it's just like it's only a one-off special for like Halloween. But yeah, I saw the trailer. I'm like, okay, like a old werewolf movie.
Yeah.
I guess I presume the whole thing's gonna be black and white, whether it's just for the trailer or not. But yeah, I'm still fascinated to see it work as an overall full. I don't know how long it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be like a full-length movie.
Yeah,
like an hour long.
I think the only thing is they need. To me, I think they just need to add a little bit more grain to it because it just looks a bit too digitally filmed. If they add a bit more grain, it will come across really as those like 1930s kind of monster movies, you know, where it's just like. But yeah, I liked it. I looked at it. I thought this is a bit different. What's going on here? You know. So I was quite intrigued by that, and I thought, you know, that for me, I'm definitely going to see that Halloween special. So it's going to be coming out, I guess, next month. No, it says streaming on Disney Plus October the 7th. So that's less than a month away. So yeah, that should be coming soon, man. The next one was Secret Invasion, which obviously has been talked about for a while, but it's a bit weird because it's kind of like people have been talking about it, but because I guess it's kind of been like the next big kind of show and stuff like that. It's kind of always seemed to me like when people were talking about it, it's more like, okay, this is a rumored thing. And it's never going to actually be, you know, oh, it's got Samuel Jackson in it, whatever. I never really thought, okay, we're actually going to see like properly a trailer of it and stuff like that. And yeah, and this, like, I don't know about you, but I'm, you know, I love me a conspiracy theory, right? I love me a conspiracy theory.
That's what hit me straight away. Like the tone was not what I was expecting. Like it almost didn't feel like a Marvel thing. It felt just like a conspiracy, like thriller.
Yeah. I love me a thing like that where it's like, okay,
don't know who you can
is
trust.
This person real? Is that person real? Is this? It's like lizard people, like the lizard people in, you know, in what's it called, in positions of power. It seemed more like a lot more Winter Soldier and Winter Soldiery in tone. And it was interesting, like, you know, I kind of thought the way that they were portraying it, I think if they do actually make it really much like that thriller kind of style where it's like, you know, can you trust this person? Can you trust them? What's going on with this person? Is this person a bad person, or, you know, whatever? It's, you know, I think it's interesting. And even the what's that? I can't remember that guy. Is that Kiwi actor who's been in almost everything? I can't remember what his name is now.
The leader of the Skrulls.
Yeah, as leader of the Skrulls. He's obviously in this there as well. Colby Smulders as well. And yeah, I think the reason why I like it kind of so much is it kind of seems like it's a bit apart from everything, but because they're concentrating on it's not really like they're concentrating on superheroes. It seems to be they're concentrating on just the people who would be doing the the spies who would be doing the job that the superheroes would not be doing.
They even said, like, with Fury, like he doesn't want anybody's help. Like he's the one that's kind of figured this thing out and he wants to deal with it himself. Even though it affects the world.
It affects basically everybody. But you know what Fury's like, man. He's kind of just like a, you know, one-man army kind of thing. And he doesn't really, I mean, he does get out a gun, you know, a couple of times and stuff like that. But he's not like a jump around and shoot people and stuff. It's more like positioning people around to be able to do the stuff there for him.
I hope when they went into this, their template was Mission Impossible. Like the last couple of Mission Impossible films.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, like maybe he brings, at some point he's on his own, but at some point he brings in, like, you know, Colby Smulders and a little team around him, so he kind of got that action, like, then it will be
another reason why I got hope for this is there's an actress in this called Olivia Colman, right, who's a really like top end British actress. She's won an Oscar and stuff like that. She has never been in a bad film. Like she's never been in a film or series or anything like that is like garbage, basically. Her stuff is always like above average or higher, right? And to get an actress of that kind of caliber doing something like this, you know that, you know, of course, everybody wants a payday, right? But at the same time, it's like, I've got a better feeling about it because she's very choosy about projects. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah,
I wasn't surprised even seeing her. I completely forgot she'd been casting this. But when I saw her, like, oh, that definitely adds gravitas and weight.
Yeah.
Even though when I got to know her, it was through Peep Show. So it's comedy stuff. But she's turned her career.
But and that's the thing. Like, also, it'll be interesting to see Emilia Clarke, like, because everybody's like, that's Daenerys, right? And obviously, when she jumped into Terminator Abomination. That Terminator film? Terminator Gen Ysis, yeah. Terminator Gen Ysis. It was like really bad. Like, there's no way you could see her as Sarah Connor. So it'd be interesting to see, can we see her as a different person, different character, kind of stuff.
She looked good. What we saw, she looked good. And I think she is a good actress. Like, she was good in depending on what your opinion was on Solo, she was good in that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So the next one that we saw was an announcement, but no trailer, of Armor Wars as well, which it didn't say whether it's I would assume that's a show rather than a film, but I don't know. Yeah. But Armor Wars in the comic books is basically where they steal Tony Stark's armor and then basically go and sell it to a whole load of villains, and the villains start using the armor, right? Which is kind of crazy because it's basically like I don't know if you ever see this, but nowadays, right, every time they have a kid's toy that comes out, there's like a mech version of it that comes out there later on, right? So it's like you can buy these, like, Thor and Captain America and all that Legos, and they've also got mech version. Like, I've never seen like Wolverine with a mech suit on, but he is like, they have a Lego version there of it, and this is kind of like that. This is like that Gundam, was it Gundam Wing and all of that? Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Like, basically, it's going to be like that. So when I saw this, I thought this could be kind of fun, man, because it's literally like back in those days when you see those cartoons where you used to have people and they used to armor up, like on Mask, right? Where you used to have like the Mask guys and Venom, were they called? I think Venom as well, and they used to have their like things there as well, and it's like, okay, the bad guys have the similar kind of weaponry to the good guys, but slightly different way done.
Only thing I'm slightly worried about is they're just using generic villains rather than, if this was done like 20 years ago, it would be nations. It would be China stealing the arm, it would be Russia.
Oh yes,
they can't really do that anymore because they don't want to upset anyone. So yeah. It's usually either North Korea, which is still okay using, or a nondescript Middle Eastern country, or a what's it called, a gorilla in Africa somewhere who's managed to get a hold of this armor. That's usually what it is, man. So yeah, it's that's unfortunate. I would kind of think like it would be interesting if you had, like, more kind of obscure villains in Marvel who are able to obtain it rather than countries. But I guess Rhodey is it's Air Force, right? So it's gonna be generic kind of things there, generic countries or whatever, kind of taking it. Maybe it could be what's his name? The guy who used to play Rhodey. Hammer. Oh no,
because he's gone off to Uganda now, and he's like acting like he's discovered some kind of mathematical formula that gives free energy and stuff. That's the guy who should be stealing the armor. You know what I mean? That would be a classic, man, if they had that. Yeah, that guy. I don't know what's going on with him. So the guy who little kid in Indiana Jones, and now seeing Everything Everywhere All at Once. He seems to have he was doing a lot of stunt work and other kind of stuff, but it seems like he's maybe having a bit of a career renaissance in his kind of 50s and stuff. So he's going to be in Loki in the new season. basically. So I'll be interested to know what he's playing there as well, and obviously they're the cast on there to kind of talk about that and stuff. And we've also interestingly to you, because you love Always Sunny, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so the director of Always Sunny, his name is, I think, Matt, what's it called? Yeah, let me just read here. Matt Shackman. He is directing Fantastic Four. He is the new director of Fantastic Four, which is announced at D23.
I remember for a while because he left. What did he leave? Star Trek. He was going to be doing a Star Trek movie, and then he just dropped out and just do this instead.
Is there anybody who's not been named as the director of Star Trek?
They cannot catch a break. They cannot catch a break, man.
Wow, man. I don't know. The thing is, I'll leave that to you guys to discuss, because you guys are the Star Trek people. But for me, like, Star Trek was always a TV thing, man. It never really hit off for me in the movies anyway. So I kind of just think, just keep it on TV, like high quality stuff, spend the budget there. You know what I mean?
This is different people own the movie rights to the TV rights, so.
Oh, okay. I thought they joined it back together again now, or they're not. I don't know.
Yeah, I believe they're just still doing it separate. Yeah, so it'll be a separate crew from what.
Okay. And that's probably why they're having difficulties and stuff like that. But I think there's been some random rumors about Chris Pine and there's some kind of mission going on between.
Let's not get into that. It's a whole other.
All that mission. So he might be looking for a project now. I don't know. It's like who to believe, like all these kind of things. But anyway, I guess you guys are probably getting into that there as well.
Yeah. What we can take from that story is Florence Pugh.
Yes.
Her project. Get into it.
Yes. Yeah, so Thunderbolts there is the main cast is revealed, right? So I'm looking at a picture of this right now. So it looks like Florence Pugh as Yelena, we got Winter Soldier, we got US Agent, we got Taskmaster. What's that Russian one called? Red Guardian, Ghost, and
Julie, what's her name? Dreyfus,
who is like the Amanda Waller character, right? Basically in this, right? So they're not going to have a thing like Suicide Squad where they're just randomly going to kill off half of them like at the start, are they? But this is the thing, you know, didn't Thunderbolts used to have Red Hulk in it?
Different iterations. It's one of those things, isn't it? Every time it goes away and comes back, it's got different.
It comes back different
people in, yeah. So
it's just because, like,
it needs to be, really.
It's just because, like, yeah, somebody put this meme up on our, you know, on our Facebook thing, and that's what I sent there to you earlier. Where it's kind of like, they can't
have Red Hulk though because they haven't got Thunderbolt Ross.
He's died, and he died in real life, didn't he? So, but I'm just kind of looking at it and thinking, okay, Taskmaster, great fighter, US Agent, hand-to-hand combat, Winter Soldier, probably guns and hand-to-hand combat, Yelena, hand-to-hand combat and guns.
Soldiers,
Red Guardian.
That's what you need. They're soldiers.
But then you got Ghost, who's actually got legit crazy things that could be like used. You know what I mean?
Red Guardian's got super strength and Winter Soldier, so that kind of.
Yeah, but I kind of think like, you know, superhumanish kind of powers where it's just like, you know, you can disappear into another universe and come back out and slow time down and all that kind of stuff. You know, I don't know, man.
I don't think their power set in this instance really matters because, yeah, they're a military group. They're doing like military. That's basically that. This is the skill set they need, really. Yeah. So,
do we know anything about, you know, what they're going up against or anything, or I don't know?
Yeah, it's still too early.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, man, because they've obviously they put Florence Pugh right at the front, right? So she's clearly like the leader of this kind of thing.
I was thinking, you know, would she be the leader? But then I was thinking it can't be US Agent because he's shown to just be unstable. So you can't really have him leading it. Winter Soldier, he wasn't like a general or anything. He was a soldier who died and then got rescued and got kidnapped. And so I guess not really leadership material. Red Guardian's too crazy.
I think maybe she probably is, but yeah, I mean, I was thinking, what's her name was going to be in this? You know, Kate Bishop. but
I reckon
I
there
don't
could
know.
be people popping up. I reckon Zemo could. still
Zemo,
pop up. Maybe not
yeah.
as in the group, but maybe trying to get him in.
Yeah, Thunderbolts, and then we also saw what else do we see here from Marvel? Was there anything else from Marvel that came out that time there as well?
Not enough that we really saw any big footage. We just saw a lot of title cards.
Yeah, I mean there was some stuff that I couldn't actually see on there. Maybe because they only let people who are actually there like see it, which is like the Marvels trailer. Apparently there was a Marvels trailer there as well, which I even searched for it to see if there's a leak there or whatever, can actually see it. And also some information about the new Captain America New World Order thing there as well, which is I don't know, man. It's like kind of is fronted by your favorite actor, Anthony Mackie, and also like I think Mo kind of didn't like this series, did he? The Captain America and Winter Soldier, right? So
that's what we found out that Tim Blake Nelson was coming back.
Yes. Yeah, as the leader, basically. Yeah, and if you guys don't know, check out who that is in the comic books. But it looks absolutely hilarious because he has this like massive like 5 head, basically massive like 4 head that kind of comes up because his kind of like brain was enhanced by the by the gamma rays as opposed to physically. So he's more like an intellectual kind of villain, which will be interesting to see how they're going to fight this person there in that. But yeah, no real footage or anything like that. That's going to be a film, I think they're saying that's going to be so it'd be interesting to see Leader in a film because actually he could he's quite a comical character when you think about it, the way that he looks and all that kind of stuff there. And when they tried to do something in Green Lantern where they turned that guy who's meant to be Parallax. Oh man, I'm just cringing thinking about it. The guy who was meant to be Parallax turned into like a fake leader with this humongous head and stuff like that. It almost becomes comical. So it's either horrific or comical at the same time. So it'll be interesting to see how they approach that thing, man.
That design could make or break that character. So.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering if they're going to go horrific or comical, and I hope they go horrific because I just would love the fact of just him being because he's a lovely guy, Tim Blake. Also great actor as well. There's another film where he was playing Billy the Kid, like I watched recently, which is amazing. But he's not really a Hollywood face, that guy. So if they do make him kind of like quite horrific, it would be quite cool, I think. Anyway, should we go into things that we can agree on, which is the series that we kind of agree on there most of the time, which is Star Wars, right? And there's quite a lot of Star Wars stuff that came out there as well. First one which is less than 2 weeks ago now. Andor, which is the next one that is the next kind of Star Wars one that's coming out. And I freely admit when this was announced, they were saying we're doing this, zero interest. I looked at it, I was like, do I want to see anything with this guy and what's the point, why are they bothering? And this trailer's kind of turned me around a bit, and I think and I think the stuff they were saying about it there as well, I think has turned me around there a bit as well, like the way that they're gonna portray it and things like that. I just you've always been saying like it'll be interesting to see what everybody else gets up to in that kind of universe, and it looks like he is just like this normal guy who basically goes and works for intelligence, and think about being, you think about CIA and the reach that they have around the world, right? And imagine what intelligence service you'd have to do to reach a galaxy, right? How crazy that job would be.
An underground intelligence agency. Because like this is the beginning of the Rebel Resistance, in it. So this will be interesting. And it just looks gritty and dark and more mature. Like this is what I want.
Yeah, and the thing is with the Star Wars stuff, whatever you say about them, the CGI always looks good. It looks like you're in there. It's really like always kind of, makes you look like you're in those places. I just want to, the one thing that I didn't look at, I think, okay, well, you're in a desert thing again. Like, get off this desert place and go somewhere else.
Planets,
what's the, why, out of everywhere in the world, right? You think about human migration, where people migrated out of the Horn of Africa to go to these other places, and then basically populated these areas with crap loads of of resources in. Think about a galaxy. Why wouldn't people do that? And I understand that in Dune it kind of makes sense, because it's like they've got mad resources on that planet, and that's why there's people on there. But every other desert planet, why would people be on it? You know what I mean? Where you got to search for water like on a daily basis. Why would you?
And you got moisture farmer. Why? Just move to the freaking ocean. Yeah,
and you got the thing is this. You wouldn't even need that, because if you got hyperdrive, just go to a planet. Can you imagine there'll be some people whose jobs would literally be to go to a water planet and just fill your ship up with water like every day and bring it back to the back to the place, man. But anyway, this thing looks good, man. And whatever you say about the new Star Wars stuff that came out, for me, the series, apart from Boba Fett, has always done all right. I've never looked at it and thought, it's bad. I'm definitely looking forward to that. We had a bit of news there as well about Ahsoka and the fact that they're actually bringing Ezra Bridger into it. Which definitely means that Dave Filoni is getting deep into his claws deep into these things, man. So like I said about the Marvel stuff, it's like, okay, you're gonna see Ezra Bridger in this. It's like, okay, I'm gonna have to go and watch Rebels now, to find out what this character is. It's interesting they're bringing this character into this. If you guys don't know, in the cartoon show Rebels, at the end of it, you have Thrawn and Ezra Bridger, and they're basically like fighting each other, and they end up getting like thrown somewhere in hyperspace, and nobody knows where it is, basically. So now Ahsoka is going to try and find Thrawn, and also try and, it looks like, find Ezra Bridger, because he's been cast there as well. So that would be cool, man. It'd definitely be cool to see. We also saw Mandalorian as well. What do you think about Mandalorian, man?
I didn't watch that trailer. I stayed away from it. I've decided I'm not going to watch any trailers for that. Go right into it.
Okay, so I won't give you too much information about that, but yeah, that looks good. Mandalorian's always solid, right? It's always solid. I'm never going to say it's going to be the greatest thing of all time, but yeah, it's solid. And then we also saw Tales of the Jedi. Did you see Tales of the Jedi?
That one I missed. I remember hearing about it, but I forgot to look at that one.
Yeah, so Tales of the Jedi is like a
it's the anthology one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an anthology one which is done in the style of the Clone Wars. So it's got the same kind of, animation and stuff like that. And it's got stories about Ahsoka, stories about Mace Windu, all this kind of stuff. And the interesting bit, where it's kind of like Mace Windu, and he's fighting with somebody who looks to be what's his name, Count Dooku. But Count Dooku before he's become evil, Count Dooku when he was like when he was a Jedi kind of thing. So this is one of those things where it's like, the kids can kind of watch and get entertainment out of stuff like
story. I'm looking forward to that one, actually.
That's also an interesting one there as well, man. So yeah, for me, a lot to kind of look at and process. Should we finish off today on the going back to DC and the final trailer of Black Adam?
Not much to be said, man. It just is what it is. It just is what it is. It's gonna be a rock.
Man.
I don't expect it to be as crap as I'm feeling it will be, but I don't think it's gonna be great either. because the Rock's.
It's just gonna be, it's gonna be basically, I don't know, it's gonna be a spectacular blockbuster, but also at the same time, in the back of your mind, exactly, like nothing to it. There's like a hollow, egg of a film, man. So anyway, guys, let us know what you think about all the trailers that you saw at D23. You can have a go at me at about She-Hulk there as well, and also let us know what you thought about House of the Dragon and are we missing something from Lord of the Rings that
somebody
like
has to love it. Somebody has to love it.
And let us know why. You can do that on the Facebook page of D2VS Marvel Podcast, and you can also email us on d2vsmarvelpod at gmail.com. I've also started uploading quite a lot of comic book videos onto the Dr. Uz Talks YouTube channel there as well. So if you like your comic book stuff, not films, TV, but if you like comic book stuff, you can go onto that there as well, and I'll link that in the description there. And if you want to catch general movies, TV, all that kind of stuff, you can catch Edz on his other show.
It's just talking at the movies and all podcasting platforms. Give it a look.
Yeah, definitely go and check that out there, guys. What are the things that you're reviewing there this week? Have you seen Beast? Beast, I think, is the new one, right?
I gave that one a miss. Really that.
You better watch everything so you can tell people
much.
what it's like.
Too much at it.
Yeah, you're meant to be watching all that stuff. Have you seen Orphan? You got to go see that Orphan.
That I want to see.
Okay.
That I do want to see.
Yeah, you got to see all those films so people, don't have to see them and can live
vicariously
through you and Mo, basically, right? So, anyway, guys, check us out, and then we'll see you again next time.